Just take a moment and allow the sacred space to cleanse your energy. Settle in. Thank you. Well, hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Fisher, care of Webinescence Enterprises, here with your 7-day forecast of messages from Spirit, divine guidance for the upcoming week. Last week was a week. It marked a year anniversary of a departure of a beautiful soul that was on this plane into the spirit world. Connected with her even closer now. So that was interesting for that to come about. And then you could probably hear my voice sounds different. I ended up with laryngitis and got sick with some kind of cold, regular thing. So I'm starting to feel better now, but there was quite a few days where I couldn't talk in the morning. I was like, oh, Spirit actually shut me up for a while. That was quite funny. But by the afternoon, I was singing and dancing. So last week was interesting. A lot of energy stirring up. And I have noticed not only working with my own Kundalini energy, the energies that are flooding the planet right now are activating this Kundalini energy in a lot of people. People I know, some people I don't know, and some people may not know how to handle it and work with it. But really, Spirit says it's easier than we may believe or think while we're in it. And it's true. It's taken me a while to figure out, like it took me a few years to figure out how to manage my Kundalini energy, the intenseness of the highs and the lows that end up coming with the fluctuations of the risings. For me, it when it shoots up, it shoots up. It's not a slow process. It's up and I'm on, and then I ride that for a while before it starts to descend back down again. And it's spontaneous. At least that's how it seems to be in my experience. So I do work with a lot of people that have these spontaneous risings and don't know how to manage them yet. And it's not an easy process. I'm not going to lie, but to get out of that fear, that part of ourselves that just does not understand what's happening and is fearing for its life at this moment. As soon as we can shift out of that and back into, trusting and having faith that Great Spirit is actually a part of this and you're fully divinely supported, then you can relax into the energy and then it starts being a lot more comfortable. It's in the resistance of things that are happening. So when we are non-accepting of things, that it ends up creating an issue much greater than it needs to be. I hope that's making sense. Oh boy, that's bright. There we go. So you can see my face a little bit better. So it was really interesting here in my neck of the woods. I'm in beautiful British Columbia, a little town called Mission. Well, it's beginning to be a big town. We had another snowfall that most of us did not expect we were going to be seeing another one until next winter. But we did. We got day before yesterday through the night, we got like 2 feet of snow here, and this was at the bottom of the hill. So they probably got 3, maybe 4 feet up at the top of the mountain here, which it absolutely beautiful, so beautiful. So I usually will take pictures and post it on social media, but on Saturday morning, I ended up getting my Facebook account hacked, and the person, I just, it blows my mind why people think that, this is a fun thing to do, to try to shut other people down just for the hell of it, like, or the fun of it, if you will. Um, it just boggles my mind why they don't have anything better to do than this. But yeah, so this person got into my account, changed the name to his name, or I don't even know if it's a he. I'm pretty sure it's a he. But yeah, and the profile picture, whatever, and then just started blasting these really raunchy pictures, which of course Facebook shuts you down right away as soon as stuff like that goes up. So I got locked out right away. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is a bit of a blessing in disguise. At least this guy got in, and then he just locked down the account right away. I'm like, okay, perfect. So I go back in and I figure out, no, I'm talking to spirit because had that knee jerk reaction. I figure out, no, I'm talking to spirit because had that knee jerk reaction with anger. Right, I was definitely getting tested. And I was like, okay, here comes this lower energy, right? Like, what am I gonna do with this? And spirit's like, calm the fuck down. Like, seriously, it's time to calm down. Calm down. And I'm like, well, most people, when they get hacked, they just delete their accounts and start up a new one. For me, it's a little bit different. I've got like 3 different business accounts that I'm running off of my main profile. And I have been building this since like 2014. So it's not something I'm too eager to just like delete completely and have to restart. And don't get me wrong, I will if that's what's meant to happen right now. But Spirit's like, no, you don't have to freak out. You just go report that your account's been hacked, and then they'll send you to your private information that this other person doesn't have, regardless of being in there. They don't have your passcodes to get into your phone number and your emails and stuff, so you're good. The security is still actually good. And so yeah, I just reported it, and then so they logged out the account right away, and then had me reset the password. And with that, the other person, whoever they are, they don't have this new password, so they cannot gain access to my account again. So, but because of the 48 lockdown, I'm unable to get back up there. And normally I would have shared these beautiful pictures I took waking up to the winter wonderland, which just represents, purification. And so it was interesting that that was happening the day before. But yeah, so the next day, purification, I can't go on Facebook, which is again another blessing in disguise, was to take a hiatus from that extremely addictive a platform, which can take your attention away from doing other things more often than not. So it's been nice actually. It's been very quiet for the rest of the weekend, which allowed my body to heal a lot faster than if I was keeping so distracted and busy doing other things. Right? Another way to be managing our energies is less distraction, so we can calm down. In that calmness, in that stillness, is when our bodies start to regenerate and repair itself. And it can't do that if you're in a constant state of fight or flight, or overwhelm, which puts you in that fight or flight state. So tapping into spirit this morning and asking for the messages or the key words to go into for this week. The first one that came up, and also came up in my personal reading in 2 different cards actually, was patience. So I knew it was going to be something for the collective. Patience. Spirit saying right now, patience is a virtue. And it is. Absolutely. And it's great when we can learn how to give ourselves permission to just step back and allow things to unfold without getting caught up and entangled in it. Um, we have been programmed through human conditioning, through many different platforms and societies, organizations, lots of different things. We've been programmed to be reactive to our outside world, um, instead of reflective and manage our inside world, which, if we're constantly reacting to what's happening outside of us, we're not managing our calmness and beingness inside of us. Of course, we're going to just continue to see that chaos outwards and be experiencing that over and over again. So, with the patience, it's really, really important to step back and just observe, and even don't observe anymore of what's going on outside of you, if you can't be reflective instead of reactive to it, because there's something that needs to be balanced within the energy if we're continuously reactive in a situation. Um, and unless we're calm within our mind and our bodies, we will not be able to see things objectively. So that was the second word that popped in, was objectivity, right? So, and then discernment, I can hear kind of right behind there. So kind of taking a moment to reflect on what it is that you're witnessing, what it is that you're feeling, so that you can better respond instead of react. It's like that word react is react, which is automatic programming and conditioning based on some kind of past experience. And if we're working with new energies, in order to create something new, we have to stop reacting what we've been doing in the past. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to create the same results that we always have. And I know a lot of people that have incarnated in this life, including myself, are called transformers. This was big in the messages coming through to me all last week. Transformers, we're coming in here to, change and stop history from repeating itself, to enhance this evolution within the human consciousness, because life is going to find a way to sustain itself. It will, come hell or high water. And quite literally and metaphorically, right? Go back and watch some things. Like, it was a program I just found out about, was on a new program on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse. So our history books, and I've always known this, the history that they're teaching us is extremely limited, and things are coming up to the surface, and science is proving that we have been around a lot longer than 5,000 years, right? And that there was an advanced human civilization here way back when. But when our egos get in the way, we tend to misuse the power, and the gifts that are given to us, when we distort our energies and try to manipulate and dominate other people and situations. So, nature and Great Spirit, if you will, knows exactly what it's doing, and the balance will always take place. But it's our time now to be the change we're looking for. And it's not about me screaming on the rooftop trying to wake everybody else up, because everybody has their own free will choice. I can share my messages, through platforms like this without screaming my head off. It's taken me a long time to figure that one out. But I didn't realize I was still operating in that other, um, duality, like fully in the duality of, no, like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum here, where my way's the better way, but I didn't know I was seeing it that way until I like hit a brick wall, and I had to be willing to face that part of myself and do something about it, which I have. And I do my best to humble myself in those moments where I find that my human ego got the better of the situation, because I know that the ego is here to help us. But if we're not working with our ego objectively and subjectively, then it can end up causing more problems and more damage. In an attempt to keep us safe from a potential threat. But this new energy is not a potential threat. Oh, which brings me now. They're just dropping in. Yeah, beware, objective with what you're seeing in the news lately. All I'm hearing is false flag, false flag, false flag, false flag. It's more fear propaganda, because the more we're in fear, the easier you are to control and manipulate. And if you want to liberate yourself, if you want freedom, it comes from within. If you are looking outside of you for somebody else to give you permission to do something, you're giving your power away. And it's very simple. Call that back to yourself, open up your heart with yourself, and liberate yourself from the inside out. This change we're looking for, everybody, is an inside job, personally. And you will help the collective that way. Okay, that's key. All right, so the next word and message that came through was surrender. So, and I know there's a bit of stigmatism and a trigger behind this word for some people, because usually they say, surrender is like waving that white flag and that you've been defeated, and it's not like that at all. You're surrendering with acceptance that something is the way it is, whether you like it or not. But given this whole free will thing that each and every other person, and respect is a two-way street, we have to respect each other's differences. And once we surrender to the realization that we're all creators within ourselves, and in order to make, they're saying, a viable change, we have to recognize that this comes within. It's a personal decision within yourself, and you have to cultivate that energy and the creation of the world you want from within yourself. And it gets projected in the outside reality. Therefore, it will have a positive effect on others, providing what you're creating is that within balance and not overpowering others, right? But surrendering is surrendering that ego. Okay. So, and the ego, of course, is always thinking, oh, well, that's giving up. Actually, it's not. It's called shifting. Shifting from this point of view that does not see a bigger picture, does not have faith and trust that something else is happening, and it's for the greater good of all. And the greater good of all includes me, it includes you, right? That's what greater good of all is, everyone. So when we can accept what's happening, then we can flow. We let go of the resistance to what's happening. And then it makes it easier to be able to navigate the way forward, especially if we're just allowing, right? You allow. It is whatever's happening outside of you and with other people. I mean, it is what it is. It's out of your control. Your control is over yourself. So when you redirect that focus back to self, you're going to be able to make that viable change you're looking for in your outside reality. But you have to first cultivate it within. So by surrendering, we accept It's like the serenity prayers coming up. Great Spirit, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Come back to the breath. Always, in order to calm down, you need to consciously breathe and breathe deeply, fully, and slowly, right? Breathing all the way in and allowing yourself to exhale all the way out and get into a proper, nice, deep, and slow rhythm will calm yourself down. When we can get into a state of relaxation, then our bodies will start to rejuvenate and repair itself. By the way, those were the next two words that popped in, was relax and rejuvenate. And then while in that state of calmness and serenity, because it's an inside job, you're not going to find your calmness and serenity in a world full of chaos outside of you. This is the test. Are you going to stay caught up in what's going on outside of you? Or are you going to cultivate the reality and the world you wish to be a part of and experience right now inside yourself? Right? Okay, so Spirit saying, go ahead and share this. I was speaking with a very dear friend of mine. We finally got to connect yesterday. And this new vision came in. She was asking for, my higher self to work with her with protection. And I'm like, you don't need that. And I said, you're a creator God. I'm a creator God. Everybody's a creator God of their own world, their own self. Okay, let's get that straight here. You're not a creator God of other creator gods, if you will. Right? Or creators. Let's just get the word God out of there, because that's a stigmatism too, and unfortunately is connected with that ego, and again, been misplaced and misused. So we're just creators, okay? We're creators that came from creation itself, right? So here's an exercise that popped through while I was talking to her, and I thought, wow, this is beautiful. And I've already done it. I just didn't realize, like, I've created this. So Spirit was saying, and I relayed the message to her to, here's an exercise. Draw out a spider's web. Draw one out. And as you're drawing it with each little pieces of the web and the connections that you have, you keep in mind the intentions, whether you want protection, whether you want more balance, good health, wealth, harmony, within your relationships. Divine protection is a beautiful one to seal in, just envision it or think about it as you're drawing your web. But this is your creation for your reality, what you would like. And as a protective barrier, then after you've drawn this web, just do a meditation with it and see yourself in your creative energy, fully and divinely protected around your whole aura. And you can wrap yourself in that web that you created just with your mind's eye, right? Envisioning it. And then I was speaking to her, and I'm like, oh man, I totally want to do this. Spirit's like, you already did. And of course, I did. Right? There we go. And get a better picture. There. That's my business card. And this is a digital version of what I created, but I do have a drawn out picture, my original one, which is on the outside of my door to my business room here. And yeah, so I mean, even this digital one is absolutely gorgeous. So I can work with that too. That was my creation, right? The original design of that particular web and the symbols there are of my creation. And oh man, it's a powerful one with all those symbols in there, let me tell you. Um, yeah, so I wrap that around me in order to protect and keep myself in my own energies, right? So there you go. That's a little a little exercise that you can do for yourself if you feel called to do so. And oh man, I would really love for you guys to share your designs if you're making any of them. I would love to see them. And um but you don't have to. If you feel like it's just for you, obviously you can. But I should have my Facebook account back up and running later this afternoon. So if you go to Webinessence Enterprises, I'm probably going to share this exercise on there and have a specific post. So if you would like to share your designs and whatnot, because it might inspire somebody else, give someone else an idea they didn't think of either. So while we're in a relaxed state and we know that we're good. We're good where we are, regardless of what's going on. Right here, right now, I'm breathing. I'm sitting. I've got a roof over my head. I've got more than I need here, and I'm absolutely grateful for every single bit of it. Mainly the breath, because the breath is what allows me to live, right? And helps me stay calm and in the power and control over myself as long as I'm conscious with it, right? Yes, it's an automatic thing and you will continue to breathe without thinking about it. But when you start being conscious and working with your breath on a conscious level, you start to come back into more power and control over yourself. You can change any circumstance where you're in a panic mode, overwhelm mode, or fear of any kind, right? So once you get into that relaxed state, your body starts to rejuvenate, and you'll also Spirit was saying they're going to drop in new ideas and inspirations during those times of serenity and calmness. It's like, oh, here's a great idea. And then, so Spirit's inviting all of us to explore that, do something with it, and see where it takes you. Allow yourself to have fun. We are human beings, not human doings. So it's really time now to strip the old conditioning of what we were taught, because what we were taught is we're being proven now is extremely limited and it's not even rooted in the truth. So let's release what we thought we already knew and ask Spirit to bring forth the information rooted in truth so we can stand on a solid foundation and rise up from there. Beautiful. Okay. What are our messages for the collective for the week of February 27th through March 5th, 2023? Please and thank you. I've got 3 decks here. Message of guidance for the collective for February 27th through March 5th, 2023. Please thank you. And most important message for the collective for the week of February 27th through March 5th, 2023. Thank you. Cute. Okay, so the first 3 cards I pulled is from the Ascended Masters Oracle by Doreen Virtue. Absolutely love working with this deck so much. Yep, they're saying go with the bigger picture first. So the bigger picture for this week. So this is the overall energy is focusing upon our strengths, right? So um, what we focus on and pay attention to is what we create more of. It's so important to understand this, not understand, to understand this. What you focus on and pay attention to is what you will create more of, right? This is where you can flip the switch. If you're focused on fear and paying attention to, all the things being told out there that are, bad and you know, ah, well, I don't even want to think about it because it just lowers the energy right away. But the more you think about it, talk about it, act within that field of energy, the more of that very thing that you're trying to get rid of, you're actually creating more of. And it's interesting because people don't realize this. If you want change, you have to be changed. So that means you got to act as if this ain't happening, right? Like, no, not in my world. It's not happening in my world. I don't play in that field. So it doesn't affect me, right? In order to create the change you want, we have to focus upon our strengths, right? It's like watering a plant. If you water the thoughts of your weaknesses or perceived weaknesses or the fears that come up, that's what's going to grow, right? When we're focused on our strengths, then it's like watering a plant that's full of strengths. You water that by paying attention to it, and then you're going to grow more things, more strengths, right? So it's a shift in perspective is what we're being given here. And it's pretty wild. The first message that's come up here is Parvati with positive change. So, and here's the wheel, right? This reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune, but this is positive change. So, like, regardless of what's being said or the projections of others outside of us, if you want your world to create positive change, you have to become that positive charge within yourself. I like that. Positive charge. So I feel, and Spirit is actually saying right now that we will all be given um, opportunities for this change. And it, it's going to come in ways that are unexpected and more gentle. It's not like going to be a spiritual slap in the face anymore. It's going to be like, hey, guess what? But it's going to be very clear, not something we're just going to like dismiss. So as long as you're open to change in a positive way, you will get the message. But if you're still operating and want to stay locked in that negative bubble and reactive to the outside, that's your choice, and it will be respected as such. Know that regardless of our choices, we all will either reap benefits or suffer consequences, right? But the choice is yours. It always has been and always will be. So here's another word: acceptance and accountability for self. If you're not liking what it is that you're experiencing, then change it. And you can, and you will. Our next message is from Lakshmi: flow of prosperity. So this is like midweek. There might be something coming in. Wouldn't be surprising in my world with all the stuff that has happened on a global scale, for um, a lot of what's the word, payback is what they're giving to me right now. It's like you're gonna get paid back for the things that were taken from you. Okay. Um, but yeah, this is also, with this positive change, opens up the flow of prosperity. So the flow of prosperity card is more so connected with the material world, but it is not limited to just that, because being prosperous is, uh, abundant in a myriad of ways, not just physically and materially, right? So midweek, expect some kind of windfall, gift, or an idea that can just really take off for you, kind of thing. But I feel like the doors of prosperity are opening, and there's going to be something coming back to you that is justifiable, they said. Interesting. And then near the end of the week here, we got Manjushri with listen. So I'm feeling, with all the, talk about calming down, surrendering, accepting, getting into a place of relaxation. This is what shifts into positive change, right? Because you're doing something positive with yourself, focusing on that strength, opening the doors to the abundance and prosperity, which has always been available to each and every one of us. We just have to become a vibrational match to it for it to start coming in. And then I feel like this attunement and this shift that's happening is gonna make it more clear with your um, abilities with communicating with your own higher self, your spirit guides, and each other on a telepathic level. Yeah, you're gonna hear things more clearly, which is beautiful, and also be receptive, right? More clearly for others. Okay, now here it is again. This one I pulled for myself, not in the bigger picture position, but this one's in the bigger picture position. I got be patient. We got be patient. This is from the Divine Energy Oracle. So, yes, this week we are being asked to, it's not just being asked, they're highly recommend that we be patient, and step back and just witness as if you're watching a movie of what's going on. Do not place yourself in the chaos that is being presented, because it's a bait and hook thing. And again, if this isn't the world that you want to continue to live in, then we got to stop biting that hook with that little worm on it, because it seems to be way too easy for people to do it. And yeah, it's surprising me. In my world, people are waking up to these deceivings more and more, because it's just ridiculously and blatantly obvious now. So yeah, but just to be patient, like ride it out. It's like watching a movie, right? Eventually it's gonna end, providing you're not putting your 2 cents into it, you're not plugging into it. It'll have an ending and it'll be done. And then a new movie is gonna start. So I love that analogy. It's so flippin' awesome. I watched on a podcast on Next Level Soul. Highly recommend watching Alex on Next Level Soul. It has amazing speakers, and content on there. And I was watching Greg Braden, his interview with Greg Braden. I don't know when they aired it, but I watched it last night, and it was phenomenal. I loved Greg Braden's analogies and insights on what's going on and how to navigate this heavy, heavy conversation of a virtual reality that we are living in, because it is. It's like it's a movie. It's a movie, and we can choose to change characters at any given time, providing you have control of your movie, right? Yeah, just wild. Okay, so be patient. There's a bunch of movies being played out because, like, we're all creators, right? And everybody's got their own world, their own view of what's going on in their personal world and the collective world. And that personal view is going to differ from one to the other, which means it's a different movie for each person. um, so step back, don't get caught up in somebody else's movie. See where you are within your own, right? Allow yourself to relax and rejuvenate in order to they're saying reinstall the next level. Wow, that was interesting. So, our message that we got down in the physical from the Divine Energy Oracle is choose friends wisely. Okay? So, this is a little bit of a caution. Again, we do not want to judge a book by its cover because, yeah, you never know what's underneath the surface unless you allow yourself to open up, be open to possibilities greater than what you think you already know, right? Um, and when you're in tune with your energy and your connection with your spiritual self, right, you have the ability to discern whether somebody standing in front of you is authentic, right, or they're not, because the energy doesn't lie. People lie. This face, right, people can lie, but the energy doesn't. Energy is just energy, and it operates on frequencies when and vibrations, and when we're lying and deceiving people, it distorts the energy field, and sensitive people can pick up on that. It's called human lie detectors. I am one. But I have ignored red flags that I felt because I wasn't trusting of myself and my intuition about it. So that was a hard lesson, but one that I needed, because once I finally realized it and started trusting myself more, I'm using it now instead, and like right off the beginning of meeting with people, um, so that yeah, the things don't come up down the road and time gets invested. And then was somebody said, and it kind of stuck with me, the only people that can betray you are the ones that you trust, right? So start by trusting yourself, because if you don't trust yourself, there's nobody outside of you you're going to fully trust. And if you believe you are, you're fooling yourself. And that's coming from the ego, who just does not know any better, right? Um, so yeah, make sure you have a good relationship with yourself as far as trust and love, because it will be very hard for you to give that to others and receive it from others if you're not cultivating it yourself first, right? So choose friends wisely. There are people out there that are wonderful, absolutely wonderful to have as, acquaintances and meet up with every now and again, but not to be sharing every little thing with. Um, there are some people out there that, it's really unfortunate. I want to cry when I think about it and have experience, meeting people in the spiritual business and the healing business where they're still operating from competition. Oh, I got to do this better than this person in order to, bring people here. And it's like, where's your trust? Where did the trust go with your higher power and your connection that you're in alignment with what you're doing, and that the people are just going to come to you? The right people are going to come to you when the time is right. Right? You don't have to force these things, but this is This is the problem with the ego still running the show, but pretending to be this spiritual teacher or guide. Um, and yeah, it's sad for me to witness when I see that, because I also see the great potential that these people have, but I'm realizing that they have yet to cultivate that trust and faith and love unconditionally within themselves. That part's missing, and it's the ego that's still running the show. It's not the connection with spirit itself yet. So just be discerning, be aware, observe, take notes, and don't engage when you feel like something was a little bit off there, right? Um, and then from our last deck here, the Messenger Oracle, we got in the higher self, bigger picture perspective, embrace the masculine. And this card's so cool because it reminds me of the Green Man from the Ascended Masters deck. Very similar in the depiction here. But we're embracing the masculine energy, and I feel like it's divine masculine. So the last few weeks, okay, since the approaching the Pisces new moon, and it's still happening. I feel a lot of people are still processing the grief of the masculine, the distorted masculine energy that has been running rampant on this plane of existence in the human collective, right? The distortion of it. We're now grieving. We're grieving the loss of the divine masculine, the balance of it all. And which is wonderful, because this is telling me that with that grieving, we're letting go of something of the old, which makes room to bring back into alignment the divine masculine, which is balanced and works with the divine feminine in equality, right? So embracing the masculine for this week in the bigger picture, right? Be patient, embrace the masculine, focus upon our strengths. Then whatever comes in for us to take action with, it's going to be effortless. It's not going to feel like something is like dire needs, and you start to panic and fear that if you don't get this done, something's going to go wrong. That's not balanced energy. That's not coming from a place of harmony, right? This energy will be coming from a place of energy, balanced energy, which will allow us an easy flow into taking action when it presents itself. But we're being asked to have patience with this, with ourselves. So relax, relax, relax. And our final message down in the 3D realm is your know you belong. Sorry. Know that you belong. Yeah, that beautiful kitten with wings. Know you belong. You do. You absolutely belong. If you didn't belong, you would not be here. It's interesting. There's always that saying, if you were not meant to be here, you would not be. It's that simple. Even in challenging times, there's reasons for it. It's happening for you, not to you. And yeah. So Spirit just wants me to read this for us here. So you have a place, you have a purpose. You are special. Do not change who you are just so others might accept you. Do not dishonor your truths by allowing someone else to tell you who you must be. Change made just so you fit the expectations or social criteria of a clique or group does not honor you. You do not need to change in order to belong. You are a blessed child of Gaia, the earth, and Great Spirit, and you belong simply because you are. So that full circle comes back around to, again, we are human beings, not human doings. So take that needle off the record of repeat. Stop doing everything. Retreat, relax, rejuvenate yourself, be patient. When the next step forward comes, it'll come from a place of balance, serenity, and calmness within, which will be a clear path forward. One step at a time. Take that step in faith and trust that the next step will present itself after. If it's meant for you, it'll continue to unfold one step at a time. If you come to a conclusion of this path, gained what you needed, and another path opens up, it will shift. There's nothing you need to do, it will present itself. Right? You follow, you trust, and you will be guided and protected along the way. Okay. Well, thank you if you have made it this far to listen to all these beautiful messages for this upcoming week. And if you're catching this replay during the week of February 27th through March 5th of 2023, you can comment and ask for a message of guidance. If you have a specific question or inquiry, go ahead and comment that. As soon as I get notification of your comment, I will tune into spirit. I will give the message, and then I will pull a card for validation and or additional message for you. And for anyone that would like to do a donation, thank you. It's always greatly appreciated. I will give you more of a 3-card, more of a mini reading than just a 1-card, 1 message kind of thing. So as a thank you for the contribution. And it's not required. I'm still going to be delivering these messages to the best of my ability each week for you, and maybe even start doing some lives a little further down the road once I figure out what day works best for people to pop on and connect with me live. Yeah, so otherwise you can reach me through my website at www.webinescence.ca. All the info is down in the description box of this video, and I hope you all have a wonderful and joyful next 7 days. Shine bright, for we are all beautiful souls. Namaste.